Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Châu Nguyễn, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. The 13th Vietnam-U.S. Defense Policy Dialogue. A new step forward in journey for peace. Vietnam, destination of happiness and hope. Continuing the 9th session of the 15th National Assembly under the chair of National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn, on the morning of May the 8th, National Assembly deputies discussed a number of important draft laws, including the law on chemicals amended. President Lương Cường and Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính attended the session. The law on chemicals amended has institutionalized provisions on promoting green transformation, circular economy, and equitable energy transition by such contents as applying green chemistry principles in the design and selection of technology and equipment. Bottlenecks in the development of the chemical industry and chemical management and solutions to remove them have also been outlined. Regarding the changing of the law's name to the Law on Chemical Industry, the National Assembly Standing Committee said that the draft law includes 4 policies of sustainable development of the chemical industry into the modern, fundamental industry, synchronous management of chemicals throughout the entire life cycle, management of hazardous chemicals in products, and improving the effectiveness of ensuring chemical safety. Therefore, the name The Law on Chemicals is appropriate as it covers all above contents. President Lương Cường on the afternoon of May the 8th presented the decision to appoint the position of Deputy Chief of the State President Office to Mr. Cấn Đình Tài and Mr. Nguyễn Hoàng Anh, assistants to President Lương Cường, and Mr. Nguyễn Dũng Tiến, assistant to Vice President Võ Thị Ánh Xuân. The officials appointed this time have strong political will, good moral qualities, theoretical thinking, and qualifications. In their positions as assistants to senior leaders of the party and state, they have clearly demonstrated their qualities and qualifications, successfully completing all assigned tasks, while well promoting the advisory role. President Lương Cường asked the newly appointed comrades to continue to strive, train, and improve their moral qualities, capacity, and qualifications, always upholds the responsibility, be proactive, flexible, and innovative in their work to improve their management, forecasting, and advisory capacity, contributing to the better performance of the State President Office. Also on May the 8th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính held phone conversation with Secretary General of the People's Action Party and Prime Minister of Singapore, Lawrence Wong. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính congratulated Singapore on its successful organization of the 14th election and conveyed General Secretary Tô Lâm congratulations to Prime Minister Lawrence Wong and the People's Action Party's leadership. Singaporean Prime Minister Lawrence Wong sincerely expressed gratitude to Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and his spouse for the warm welcome during their recent visit to Vietnam and for this phone call. He thanked General Secretary Tô Lâm for sending the congratulatory message. The two prime ministers agreed to urge relevant ministries and agencies to actively implement the important results achieved during the recent high-level visits, further strengthen exchanges through party channels and promote people-to-people exchange, and urgently develop an action program this year to implement the comprehensive strategic partnership for the period of 2025-2030 period. The two sides agreed to strengthen consultation and coordination and mutual support at regional and international forums, especially ASEAN and APEC, for peace, stability, and common interest of the region and the world. The two sides also agreed to discuss bilateral cooperation and other issues in detail on the occasion of the upcoming ASEAN summit in Malaysia. The same day in Hanoi, the 13th Vietnam-United States Defense Policy Dialogue took place under the co-chairmanship of Senior Lieutenant General Huang Xuân-Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, and Mr. John Noh, Acting U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense. During the dialogue, both sides acknowledged that bilateral defense cooperation has continued to expand comprehensively, with war legacy remediation remaining a key highlight. Vietnam appreciated the U.S. announcement of an additional $130 million in support for the dock scene cleanup project at Bien Hoa Airport. The two sides agreed to strengthen cooperation in areas including high-level delegation exchanges, effective maintenance of dialogue and consultation mechanisms, training, military medicine, UN peacekeeping, and mutual support at multilateral defense forums. Mr. John No noted that the U.S. appreciation of Vietnam's role in the region and expressed a desire to enhance bilateral cooperation for peace, stability, and development. He conveyed U.S. Secretary of Defense Hexeth's support for a strong and independent Vietnam. Looking ahead, both sides agreed to boost communications about war legacy settlement cooperation to raise public awareness both domestically and internationally of these deeply humanitarian aspects of Vietnam-U.S. relations, helping to set aside the past, look toward a future of peace, cooperation, and development. The dialogue concluded with the signing of the minutes of the 13th Vietnam-U.S. Defense Policy Dialogue, the handover of wartime memorabilia files, and the delivery of a letter from Vietnam's Minister of National Defense to its U.S. counterpart. The letter includes a proposal for the U.S. Department of Defense to help facilitate trade and tariff negotiations in line with both nations' interests. On May the 7th at the UN MIS, a ceremony was held to award the UN Medal to Vietnam's Level 2 Field Hospital Rotation 6 for the persistent and noble efforts of the hospital staff during their duties at the mission. The ceremony saw the attendance of representatives of the UN and international colleagues. Over the past time, Vietnamese peacekeepers have demonstrated the humanitarian spirit, professionalism, and aspiration to contribute to maintaining peace. The staff of the Level 2 Field Hospital Rotation 6 was honored to receive the medal in recognition of their high sense of responsibility, dedication, and efforts to surmount difficulties and harsh field conditions. UN MIS Force Commander hailed the hospital's excellent mission performance, spreading the spirit of humanity and discipline enforcement, thus demonstrating Vietnam's role and prestige in and responsibility for the UN peacekeeping operations. In areas still marked by conflict and poverty, the Blue Berets of Vietnam have become symbols of hope. Through meaningful contribution to UN missions, Vietnam continues to prove itself a responsible, peace-loving nation. Soon, the draft law on participation in UN peacekeeping operations promises to open a new chapter in this journey for peace. In a critical emergency, the Vietnamese peacekeeping medical team quickly evacuated a pregnant woman by air. Only when the aircraft took off did relief return to that uncertain land. These efforts not only save lives but also bring hope where war and poverty persist. For over a decade, from South Sudan to Central African Republic to RPA, Vietnamese peacekeepers have left their mark with professionalism, dedication, and compassion.
The contribution of Vietnam Level 2 Hospital in Bien Thieu has been exemplary. They are located in Bien Thieu, which is a location where there is a lot of subnational conflicts happening.
I highly appreciate the contribution of Vietnam's Level 2 Field Hospital. Your team shows great expertise in medical ethics. Your presence gives us confidence. Building on these proud achievements, Vietnam is taking a major step to enhance peacekeeping capacity through a new legal framework. The draft law set for submission at the 9th National Assembly session on May the 14th to the 15th contains 5 chapters and 34 articles outlining principles, authority, organization, training, logistics, finance, and policy. It also includes provisions for civilian participation.
Luật này cũng là để đảm bảo chúng ta triển khai lực lượng.
This law aligns our peacekeeping efforts with the party's direction, the Constitution, state policies, and international treaties. It enhances efficiency, streamlines procedures, and ensures proper support and motivation for our peacekeeping personnel. With outstanding contribution and a strengthening legal foundation, Vietnam moves steadily forward in its UN peacekeeping journey. The Blue Berets will continue spreading humanity and affirming Vietnam's responsible role on the global stage. Coming up next, large enterprises help augment Vietnam-US trade ties. Vietnam, destination of happiness and hope. In a recent meeting chaired by Minister of Industry and Trade, Head of Government Negotiation Mission Nguyễn Hồng Diên, leaders of large corporations and enterprises agreed to find effective solutions to implementing the Prime Minister's direction on promoting trade agreements between Vietnam and the U.S. The participants were briefed on the implementation of signed trade agreements in 2025 and assessed the demand for importing machinery, services, and raw materials from the U.S. in the coming time. Representatives of the corporations affirmed that they would continue to work closely with the U.S. partners to accelerate the progress of contracts and realize signed memorandums of understanding. Concluding the meeting, Minister Nguyễn Hồng Diên put emphasis on Vietnam's large and stable demand for importing goods and services from the U.S. He suggested the two sides continue to remove difficulties, create favorable conditions for businesses, contributing to promoting substantive, balanced, and sustainable bilateral economic and trade relations. The remarkable progress in Vietnam's socio-economic development in recent time, along with the strategies of the party and government for the country to grow strongly, have turned Vietnam into a safe and happy destination for many international friends. Having faith in the country's development path, many of them have chosen to live and work in Vietnam, and Reup, an economist and senior lecturer at the Banking Academy of Vietnam, is among them.
I'm quite an adventurer, so I drive my motorbike a little bit off-road. I had motorbikes broken down in the middle of nowhere with people that do not speak my language, that do not know me, hosting me for the night, taking my motorbike, driving me back to fix the motorbike, and making sure that I am fed openness of the people and also lots of generosity of the Vietnamese people that I am very thankful and grateful for.
This is the story of Reup, a Moroccan man who once accidentally discovered Vietnam. He calls Vietnam a rough diamond to be discovered.
Life in Vietnam is great because, first of all, it's diversified. Vietnam from north to south offers deserts, big cities, small cities, authenticity and modernity. You need a life to discover all of that.
That is the reason why Reup, who once had lived in different Southeast Asian countries, decided to spend the rest of his life settling in Vietnam.
We can say that Vietnam has shown remarkable achievement during the last decade, especially economically. If we go from the first point, it would be the growth of the GDP that has been very stable and very dependent on during the last decade. Moving on, we will go into the infrastructure. Vietnam has been laying the ground for big infrastructural change that places the Vietnam as one of the most dynamic and resilient. A huge effort and commitment of the government toward a total digital transformation and toward a fiscal policy that is more disciplined and more toward the citizen.
Vietnam has been striving for the goal of becoming a high-income country by 2045, the country with digital economy playing a central role in increasing labor productivity, promoting innovation, and improving its citizens' life quality. This sound strategy of the party and government of Vietnam has successfully built the belief of the Vietnamese people, as well as foreigners living in Vietnam like Reup, in a bright future of the country.
I believe that Vietnam has all the ingredients to become a force and a powerful economy in the world. It is currently already showing that, are basically showing us and tracing the bright way of the future of Vietnam. According to the macroeconomic variable, I can only say that Vietnam will grow stronger and stronger every year after the other through its people, through its economy.
In addition to traveling, Brother Harky's hobby is observing the streets and sipping coffee. That is how he feels the changes day by day of Vietnam and loves this beautiful country more and more. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.